The reason for all this fashion talk is a letter that appeared recently in the Times, in the Thunderer. That will ring a bell, not even a bell bottom, with every man who wore a kipper tie, nursed a secret desire to look the way Engelbert Humperdinck does today. And it said, "Sir, I've been made to feel old, not by physical deformity, but by the vagaries of male fashion. Boys in 3A have poured scorn on my kipper tie," it could have been ketchup, "and my flared trousers. Who are these self-appointed arbiters of male good taste? I suspect it's secretly the clothing manufacturers who've espoused the idea of built-in obsolescence. I am, however, glad to see I can now wear my braces, yet again. Yours unfashionably, C.L. Kirch, Headmaster, Wellington School, Bebington, Wirral, Merseyside." So let's meet, complete with the flares and the kipper tie, Mr. Kirch and the rotters from 3A. They're over here. See, Mr. Kirch, the things people normally write to the Times are, "Dear sir, today I heard the first cuckoo." And that's what we expect. I mean, why write to the Times about? Why draw attention to yourself and your lack of sartorial excellence?
Well, I felt I needed to protest. I don't see why young people should criticize their headmaster's dress, and I thought, let off steam in the Times, why not?
Yes, but I mean, have you ever thought of your dress sense or lack of it before now? Has it ever impinged?
Not really, no. Clothes bore me. I'm not really interested in clothes at all. If something gets tatty and so on, I just go to Marks and Sparks and take something to replace it. I mean, this jacket I got on here is at least 30 years old, and then I inherited it from my brother.
It turned very well, though. Very nice. And I mean, how do you mean when things... Oh, you got the patches on it. How do you mean when things get... How long does it take before you discard something? How many years? 30?
Well, I don't know. I mean, my car, for example, I got a Mini, it's 10 years old, and one of the boys said it looks as if a bomb had dropped on it. So I decided I think I better change it. I make things last. I like to buy good things and then make them last.
How important are clothes in your life? Not very.
No.
But have you yet... You obviously have fairly strict ideas of what your pupils should wear.
Yes, I do like them to be smart and turned out properly, and I feel since this program, perhaps I ought to apply the same criterion to myself.
Well, I was just saying, yes, we might be accused of hypocrisy.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it is not many young people these days, and maybe they never did. I never liked wearing blazers and things. It's a little, I'm sure they resent the blazers, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I must say, I must compliment you anyway. Do you normally run the school along these democratic lines, or are you more of a benign dictator?
Well, I would say benign dictator, really.
Yeah.
I mean, this came up because a boy put a question. I have a little tin, and at the end of a lesson, we've got a few minutes over. I take them for history, and they put a question in about criticizing my dress, and this is how it all arose.
Well, I'll ask them. That's Steve, Kirsty, and this is Paul. Yeah. Welcome, or thank you for coming. Good. On an old-fashioned show like this. It's good to see you. I mean, who was it that made this? Was it you?
It was me, yeah.
That was very brave. You stuck the suggestion in the suggestion box. What did you say?
Well, I just said we all think your flurry trousers and your kipper tie are really trendy. That's like sarcasm.
Yeah.
And,
flurry trousers.
Yeah.
Is that what you call him?
Yeah. Flurry Chris, we call him.
Flurry Chris?
Oh, I haven't heard that before.
Oh, yeah. That's you expelled anyway. Yeah. I mean, do you have corporeal punishment in the school?
Oh, yes. We still believe in the old-fashioned punishments.
Do you?
Yes.
So you're an old-fashioned man, then, and you're old-fashioned about clothes and old-fashioned about education and discipline and how the
good old-fashioned virtues, I don't think they change.
Yeah. Why do you think it matters what your headmaster looks like, Kirsty?
Because he's got to impress the children and show them what they've got to wear and how they're to address themselves. And if he's doing it old-fashionedly, then we won't really know what to do.
Do you think he's letting down the school the way he dresses?
Well, yes, I suppose so, yes. I think so.
Steve, how would you like to see him dressed, Steve?
I'd like to see him dressed a bit more modern than he is now. I mean, he's living 20 years into the past.
Do you mind me asking you to stand up, just what is 20 years in the past?
Well, there's the kipper tie, which everybody's talking about.
The tie is too wide. Give us a brief criticism. What's wrong with this man?
Well, These shoulder pads, the height of untrendiness.
Are they?
Green shoulder pads with the tweed jacket doesn't go.
Yeah, what?
And hardly anyone wears trousers. These aren't as usually as wide as he wears them, but no one wears wide trousers at the bottom.
No. They're not as flary as they might be, though, in fairness to the headmaster. What do you think, Steve?
Well, he should have been wearing his brown half-mast flares.
Yeah.
But they're conveniently
In the
cleaners. They're in the cleaners.
You mean he's not wearing his best for us? Yeah.
But I think he's sort of like made an effort, put
All
on
right.
these trousers.
Well, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to try and dress you, Mr. Kirch, as the school and as your critics would like to have you dress. You'll probably come on looking something like Jonathan Ross. And whoever she is. Now, we'll see how you are at the end of the show, and we'll also see what your pupils think. Okay, would you be willing to? And we'll have Jeff Banks, who's a fashion expert, come in and say what he thinks. Okay?
Right.
Thank you all for joining us. For the moment, then. Thank you. Now, Mr. Kirch. Sit down, Chris. This is ridiculous. It's as you said. You can't please anybody, really. The only person worth pleasing is yourself.
Only, you see, I think there's a secret fashion fetishist waiting to get out in Chris. I mean, writing the letter, and he says that he's not interested in fashion, but I actually think secretly in there it's all waiting to come out. So I think maybe waistcoats and velvet next time.
Yeah, I mean, young people are tremendously fashion conscious now. There's no question of that. I see it in my own young people, and I see it, the young people here, although they're all in those blazers which they resent like mad. You're in a blazer as well now. See, did you do that out of sympathy for your pupils?
This is their choice. This is their choice. I think it's very smart.
It is very conservative, though, considering their youth, isn't it?
It almost looks like back to the 30s, which is the fashion at the moment. It's a sort of like Duke of Windsor bags and the double-breasted blazer, all of that de rigueur. But I would have thought, given the opportunity to get the old man in something special, they would have, like, grabbed it with both hands. And I'm sort of vaguely disappointed that lot over
Yeah,
there.
but I think you see,
that.
I'll ask him about that in a minute, but I think, you see, you've got to pay some attention to age, haven't you?
I don't think
you
so.
can't,
I think...
there's no way. I mean, mutton dressed as lamb. There's nothing worse than if Chris came out in sneakers and sort of a ridiculous jacket and all the rest. You know, I mean, he's a headmaster.
No, do you know what? One of the best fashions that ever changed was with Bernard Shaw back at the sort of like turn of the last century, when he actually dressed himself in off-white underwear and used to take tea in Regent Street. And at that age, he was about 73.
Yeah, but
there he was, a real adventurer.
Yeah, but he was an eccentric. This man is a headmaster.
There's an eccentric in those people that teach, I'm sure. So
Yeah.
inside there's something like waiting to come out. The roar of the lion.
All right. Well, look, I'll tell you, I'll go down to the pupils and see what they think, because they did dress you. Are you pleased with the way you dress?
Very pleased. I think it's very
I think he
nice
looks very elegant, but I would have thought a bit more adventure.
I like the trousers, because the trousers are okay, they're pegged in. Is that, do you fancy them, or did you prefer your old style?
No, I like these very much. I especially like the jacket. It's so nice and lightweight. It's a lovely jacket.
It'll last at least 30 years, knowing you.
The other thing as well, Terry, is that flares and kipper ties are actually back. So,
What, you're kidding?
the 70s have returned. So maybe you'd like to have a word with them about
Pack
that
it
as
in.
well.
Thank you in the meantime, Jeff, and you too, Chris. I'm going to go down and talk to the people. Hi, welcome all of you. I must say, it's probably a mark of your loyalty to the school and the secret affection you have for the headmaster that you're all here in the dreaded blazers. Anyway, you're welcome. What do you think? I mean, you dressed him. You're going to take the rap from the rest of the school. I mean, you're happy with him?
I think he looks a bit like a tin soldier.
How about you, Kirsty?
Well, Jeff Banks was saying that, he should be wearing more loose things, but if he's got to be a headmaster and look presentable and smart, then that's the sort of thing he'll have to wear.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Steve, I thought you'd go a bit more outlandish.
Well, it's more of a fashionable version of what he was wearing before. If he had a bit more hair, he'd be like a model in a catalogue.
Yeah. Well, listen, how old are all you guys? You're all from the same class, more or less. What, 14, 15? Yeah. Well, I hope, under Chris, that you may even pass on to the next class, but I doubt it very much. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for looking after your headmaster. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. That's it. Hope you'll have a splendid weekend, however you're dressed. See you on Monday.
You can also find us on Facebook at Wellington School Bebington. And you may also wish to visit the school memorabilia website, the address on the screen there. And why not visit our YouTube channel, Wellington School Bebington, Wirral.